Greetings to you viewers from across the globe. You're welcome to the show Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm your host, Odiawa AI for Veegil Media. On the show, we will be taking a look continually on the political race in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa. The race is on and no contender or contestant wishes to be left behind. In Imo State, we could see Ganduje and the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, alighting from the aircraft in support of Hope Uzodinma, the APC, the All Progressives Congress gubernatorial candidate, to at least throw their weight behind him. Now, there are approvals and disapprovals in the Imo-speaking region of the southeastern part of Nigeria, particularly because of the insecurities which has plagued the place. To start with, the sit-at-home imposition by the IPOB, which is the Independent People of Biafra, and also the kidnappings, the maimings which have gone on in Imo State. Now, it is our wish that in this electoral period, come November 11, it doesn't hamper or hinder the rights or civic rights of the electorate on that particular day in the polling units or wards in which they will come out from. One of the surprising approvals, not just the heavyweights of the APC from Ganduje and Rochas Okorocha alone and other stakeholders that may be, will be this federal lawmaker representing in the Green Chamber, the lower chamber, Ikeduru Mbetoli Federal Constituency, by name Akarachi Amadi. From, of course, he was I just mentioned where he's representing. This 30-year-old lawmaker has actually come out to vouch for Hope Uzodinma, to beckon on his ward, his constituency, to make sure that they come outside alongside after a stakeholders meeting, which he actually organized last week, to make sure that they come out, to make sure that they put their votes or cast their votes for Hope Uzodinma. Now, having re-elected Hope Uzodinma as governor on that day, reaffirming his quote, he was like, the governor had done well in infrastructure, provision of jobs, prompt payment of salaries, pensions, and lifting education, health, and agricultural sectors, amongst others. Now, this youthful lawmaker, amongst all said, the governorship candidate, Uzodinma, had more capacity and experience to move the state forward. Now, what is his definition about moving the state forward? Fine, yes, resources might be at your disposal, but how well have you made use or disposed of positively with those resources? Because you have the military and the state might in your power, in your grasp, and yet still there were still some upheavals. Now, he said, I don't stand to be contradictory here, but he said that the governor was doing well to tackle insecurity and deepening democracy in the state. When you're deepening democracy in a particular state, it should be a question of people should actually have a right to what they say or need. It's not a case of where there should be land grabbing and you feel you don't have a right to speak up when your land is being taken away from you or your rights are being taken away from you. Now, in a bid to support Hope Uzodinma's re-election bid, he donated 14 brand new Sienna vehicles. We all know what the Sienna vehicles are in his federal constituency, saying that if Hope Uzodinma is re-elected November 11, he will do more. He said the electoral ward in his federal constituency that delivers the highest number of votes for the APC at November 11 gubernatorial polls within the state will have zonal intervention project worth over 100 million captured in the federal budget in that ward. Now, do I need to fulfill the rights of this 30-year-old lawmaker by name Akarachi Amadi before I am entitled to what I actually need from the government? Now, if that project now, or that budget, what 100 million naira is actually meant for the state at large, must it actually be for the ward or the zone that actually casts the highest number of votes? The election now for the candidates for office now shouldn't be a competitive one on a negative note. It should be a healthy one on a positive note, for the electorate to see reason that there's need for your candidate to actually come in. Because when you're coming in with this enticing quotes or gifts, you're actually imposing them on the electorate deceptively. Now, he said in his own words, please vote, I'm reiterating this, please vote for the governor come November 11 governorship elections in Imo State. Our governor has done well in his first tenure in office, and he has done well in job creation, infrastructure, tackling insecurity, and lifting our major sectors like education, agriculture, health, and tourism. Now, in the past 4 years, in my own view, in my own opinion, I haven't seen anything of any positive upliftment when it comes to these structures, because the opposing faction, which is actually the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, have actually contradicted these appraisals which this 30-year-old lawmaker has actually said. So now, are we beginning to look at it that someone is telling lies or actually trying to vote by orally before the election day? Or is there something he or she is being scared of? Because news making the rounds is that actually he hasn't really stamped his foot down in Imo State. Join me in the next phase of the show as we buttress further as to why Hope Uzodinma should actually be the right candidate to return to office. I'm Odiawa AI for Veegil Media. This is Viewpoint.
Greetings, viewers from across the globe. You're welcome to the show Viewpoint.
You're welcome back to the show. I'm Odiawa AI for Veegil Media, and the show is Viewpoint. Earlier on in the first phase of the show, we were talking about the approval and disapproval from factions who are actually throwing their weight behind Hope Uzodinma, the incumbent governor of Imo State. And what oppositions will he be likely to be facing, and what accusations he will be facing from opposing parties. For instance, the PDP, which is on their tails. To begin with, the acting national chairman of the PDP, People's Democratic Party, Umar, has actually come out to, Umar Damagun actually has actually urged the Imo people to vote out looters. And now these looters, which he will be referring to, I perceive, should be the incumbent administration. Now, voting out looters to be able to tackle the insecurities and take back the state. Damaku recalled that Imo State had been the most peaceful and economically viable state during previous administrations of the PDP. We'll remember the likes of Ihedioha, former governor who was under the PDP also. We'll be coming to him in further discussions on this show. Now, the APC government, led by Hope Uzodinma, according to Damagu, has been recklessly dismembered. He said that this on last week during the campaign flag off of the PDP at the Kanuwankwo Sports Complex in Imo State. Presenting the PDP's flag to flag bearer, which is Senator Samuel Anyanwu, he said that the party, in his message, presenting a positive note, the people of the state and to them, utilize the opportunity to liberate the state. Now, in liberating the state, he's making sure that Samuel Anyanwu will make sure that he actually wins the hearts of these people to counter the Hope Uzodinma administration which has actually been stating that it has actually provided infrastructure, schooling, healthcare, and of course, taking care of pensions and salaries, which the PDP here are actually countering. Now, Damago affirms that the party's candidate has the political experience, zeal, and exposure to turn things around for good for the people of the state. Now, how well would the electorate accept this upon accepting a senator? Now, my question here also is, for one to be at the senatorial level, it raises some question marks if why he is now coming down to the state level. I expect or assume that he should be going higher or aspiring higher. Because there seems to be a recent trend of events when it comes to senators now coming down from the Senate, or maybe they were no longer in Senate anymore. They are now fighting for the state gubernatorial seats. We have the likes of Dino Melaye. He was a senator. Now he is actually coming out on the flagship of the PDP to contest for the Kogi State governorship. Now, likewise, this Samuel Ayan. Now, these are all party members belonging to the PDP. It seems to be a trend, which is like hashtagging or trending within this political party. Now, falling back to what I said now, according to Samuel Ayan, it is not only experience, exposure, and credibility, but he also has a nursing desire to rescue Imo State from a battered situation. Of course, evidently speaking, from news making around, we understand what we mean by the battered situation. From the seat at home, the obliteration of properties, and of course, the southeastern zone for some time now, weeks, days, running into months, has not been able to boast of anything viable when it comes to the population in size, the economic aspect, and transportation also has either been checkered or curtailed or even stopped. Why? Because for preservation of lives and properties. Now, the governorship candidate of the PDP in the states, Senator Ayan, has vowed to liberate the states and assuming office to immediately construct rural and urban roads, education, revamping. Now, these are things which are being stated and restated. The country now, or even the state at large, is way beyond these recurring promises which come in every 4 years. It is not what you begin to tell frustrated youths who are actually jackpying. And when I mean jackpy here, I'm talking about the mass exodus of youths, a total brain drain. That's the local parlance in which we use in saying it here within our own nation now. Now, it is the responsibility to come up with intellectual promises that will actually be lived up to. That's the question here. It's not just for fighting for the seat, and then when you get in there, you're not able to deliver. Now, meanwhile, the governors of Zamfara State, who doubled as the chairman of the National Campaign Council, Dr. Dauda Lawal, Enugu State Governor, Barrister Peter Mba, Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, and Delta State Representative, also consoled the people of the state and passing through severe and excruciating pains occasioned by inhumane administration. Now, this inhumane administration is referring to the Hope Uzodinma administration. Now, in my own view, in my own opinion, politicians here now, when I come to this now, I'm talking about pointing and using fingers. They should be mature about the political gameplay. It's not about attacking each other's personality or administration. Why? Because no one is perfect, neither is anyone as good as the other. Upon coming in on board, what can you deliver? That's another question. And how well, to what capacity or extent can you deliver? It's not a blame game before the polls, during the polls, or even after the polls. That is when we should start this blame game trend. In furtherance to that, we will look at the phase whereby the political juggernauts of the PDP, particularly in Imo State, why they decided to shun the inaugural campaign. That's another question. Because the attendance wasn't really holding water. When you say former stalwarts like former governors being ought to be present, not being there, it therefore means that there isn't an okay for people to come over on seats. And there are people who are not happy about the particular candidature of that person. Join me in the next phase of the show. I'm Odiawa AI, right here on Veegil Media. Viewpoint, your daily opinion-based show with the objective of addressing important topical issues in the public space. Join me, your host, Odiawa AI, as we shed light on important topical issues from politics, socio-economic events in the public space as it affects you and I. Viewpoint, discovering world perspectives and embracing dialogue. You're welcome back to the show. I'm Odiawa AI on Veegil Media, and the show is Viewpoint. Now, recapping up in summary before we draw the curtain on today's episode, we would like to revisit this issue of former governors not being present in the inaugural campaign of the candidate Samuel Anyanwu of the PDP. Former governors of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha and Chief Achike Udemwa, among other stakeholders, as at last week, shone the governorship campaign flag up of the PDP in Imo State. Of course, the event took place in the Kanuwanko Stadium in Owerri, and the Director General of the PDP campaign organization and members of the House of Reps, Ikenga Oguchionye, was also absent. Now, for such a person to be absent, DG of the campaign organization, now, there are question marks and there are eyebrows to be raised, just to be dropped in all to ask questions what actually happened. Probably news making the rounds will actually get us enlightened on that, and we would analyze that on this show right here on Viewpoint. I'm Odiawa AI. I draw the curtain on today's episode of Viewpoint. Thanks for watching.